That's a live video call. 2 phones, same mesh network, and a warning that still says no internet connection. It turns out there's more we can do on a local private network than we ever thought. And honestly, I don't know why no one has covered this before. So I built a mesh network that has no connection to the outside world, sub-gigahertz, long-range radio, completely off-grid, and tested 5 different app setups on it, each more exotic than the last. Some of them worked and some of them didn't. And the reason why changes everything about how we think about communication. Let me show you how. But first, think about what you actually need to make a FaceTime call. You'd probably say Wi-Fi or cell service, maybe a hotspot, some kind of internet connection, right? And if I asked about WhatsApp, probably the same answer. You need data, you need a plan, you need to be connected to something. And that's what we've all been told. Your phone connects to a cell tower, that tower connects to an ISP, that ISP routes your call through a data center somewhere, and it comes back down on the other end. That's just how it works, except it's not. Now, for the last few years, I've been helping people build open source routers that you can 3D print in your garage, but that also feature some of the most advanced wireless tech you've ever seen. We're talking sub-gigahertz Wi-Fi Halo cards from Morse Micro, layer 2 and layer 3 mesh networking with 802.11s and batman-adv, channel widths as low as 1 megahertz, which for context, your home router probably runs 20, 40, or 80 megahertz. These run on 1, so they go miles instead of feet. Oh, and encryption levels that your home router probably doesn't even support yet, like WPA3 SAE. And as I've spun up these mesh networks, I've been testing what they can actually be used for. Mumble, VoIP servers, GPS coordination, ATAC, Meshtastic integrations. If these networks can handle VoIP, GPS, even tactical military comms, could they handle something way more consumer, like a FaceTime call, a WhatsApp video, basically the apps everyone already has on their phone? I honestly didn't think it would work. I figured apps like FaceTime must route through Apple's servers, and there's no way they'd just connect peer-to-peer on a random local network with no internet. But I had to find out. But here's my hesitation. Apps like FaceTime and WhatsApp, these aren't open source tools. These are Apple and Meta products. They're designed to route through their infrastructure, their servers, and their rules. So even if the network works, I figured the apps would just refuse to connect. No Apple server, no FaceTime. That's how I'd expect it to work. But should and does aren't quite the same thing, and maybe there's a loophole that's hiding in plain sight. So I set up 2 Haven nodes, grabbed 2 phones, and started testing. Okay, so the first thing we're going to test here is an app called Mumble. Now, this is an open source VoIP software, and you have servers, you have clients. What I like about it is A, that it's open source, but B, there's sort of ample implementations of this. So like there's an Android client called Moomla that works. There's a Mac OS application called Mumble that we can use to spin up our server. So let me just get you started with the mental model here, right? We have one node, which is green. It has a 2.4 Wi-Fi called green. SSID is green. My computer is connected to that. Actually, I'll unplug Ethernet on my computer, so it's only connected to green's Wi-Fi. We can see that right here, green. And then blue likewise has a 2.4 Wi-Fi called blue, and that is what my phone's gonna connect to here. So I'm gonna go ahead and go into settings, and go into network, go into internet, and I'm gonna toggle on over to blue. There it is. It's gonna need a password. Let me just type that in real quick. Okay, so we'll see my phone is gonna connect to this guy. So it says connected device, but can't provide internet, right? Because there's no uplink here. There's no backhaul or anything like that. This is a private isolated network. And we're running batman-adv, which is layer 2 mesh networking, and they're bridged over these Wi-Fi Halo antennas. So let's get Mumble working. So you set up a server first. You need a server on one of your devices. So you can set that up from the command line here. There's details about this in the Haven guide, but you could also just look at how to start a Mumble server. So I just started the Mumble server. It's running in the terminal, but how do we actually like create our chat room and stuff like that? That is where we use this Mumble application. So I'm going to go to connect, and I already see it here, but basically you would just do add new, you'd provide your IP address, and then you put your password. I have starter scripts for all that, so if you want to just use those, you can. Okay, so now I am connected to the Mumble instance here. Mumble is pretty sweet in the sense that we can do voice, and we can also do chat, and you can also do chat rooms and all that stuff, and you can also do like internet backhaul and all that. If you wanted to make a public or so like expose it on the internet somewhere, probably do some crazy stuff with mesh VPNs like Tailscale if you really wanted to, but we're gonna keep it pretty basic here. So, okay, this guy's set up. So now all we have to do is go over to a Mumble client on my Android phone here. Again, I like this guy. It's called Mumla. I will rate you later. And you just plug in the IP address where you have the server running, which is just gonna be the IP address of this computer right here. And I already have that set up here, so I can go over to connect. Test 1, 2. See, it had me. Test 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's an echo there, right? We have things working, right? So I can go over to chat here. I can say test from green. Right.
Test from green.
Oh, okay, it's funny. It actually does text to speech, which is cool. But you can see it right there as well. And then we can say from blue. And we see that show up right over here. So you can do chat rooms. You can do voice chat rooms. And there's a lot of parameters that you can configure in terms of like data lengths and all that stuff. We're not going to get too fancy with it. But you saw that there was no internet on that network. There's no internet here. Like if I go over to Wi-Fi, man, there is no internet, right? Yet we're still able to get a connection. Now I want to have a little bit more fun with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to play some music here and we're going to kind of listen to it like it's a radio station on this. And I'm just going to kind of walk around my house real quick. Okay. So we have my background track here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back over to Mumble and I'm going to unmute. And what we can do is take this. Bruno, stop licking the node. So we're getting this music from the Halo radio, and just by having the Haven node near it, we're able to get that music. And we could send messages. So we are outside now. And this audio again is coming from our other node over the microphone here. So we're still getting audio here because, again, it's coming over the long-range radio even though I'm walking around my neighborhood right now. Okay, next up we have Signal, which is a chat messaging application that I like to use. Anytime I'm talking about something that's pretty sensitive, I do like to use Signal. So the phone on the left here is connected to the blue. You can see there's no internet. The phone on the right is connected to green. You can also see there's no internet. So if I then navigate over to Signal, okay, and I already have a conversation going, but let's see what happens when I try to communicate without any internet. So I'm going to send a message from blue to green and say, blue, see what happens. Okay, I'm not seeing anything come through. Send one back to blue. I'm going to say green. So nothing going through just yet. Let's try a phone call. Yeah, so nothing really coming through quite yet. So we could try this. Let's try giving green backhaul. See if that helps us out. So if I do this, I'm gonna plug in green. See if it can bridge some internet for us. All right, so now it looks like we have some internet. Let's see if we can establish like something first. Test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we have a connection. This guy's connected to blue. This guy's connected to green. But right now, green has backhaul, internet. So we need to yank this and see what happens. So here we go. Test. Test 1, 2, 3. Okay. It appears to... Yep. So we have no internet. But we're still voice chatting over Signal, which is exactly what we were trying to prove. So yeah, Signal allows local mesh networks. And again, just to prove like we have no internet, I can go to Wi-Fi man and nothing should come up here. Yep. So that's pretty sweet. And we could probably do video if we really wanted. Let's see here. Yep. That's pretty sweet. Cool. So Signal allows offline communications on private networks. You might have to do a little bit of finessing initially to get them to kind of make that handshake. They're talking to each other and it works. Okay, so it doesn't shock me that Signal works on an offline network because it's open source. It's very like privacy centric. You know, their whole MO is not exactly to like monitor you or capture telemetry data or anything like that. So that kind of makes sense to me. But what about the big guys? What about Meta and WhatsApp? I mean, if any sort of messenger tool is spying on our conversations, I would think they're a prime suspect. Here's what most people don't realize. We're already living through a decentralization wave. We just don't call it that. 3D printing is decentralized manufacturing. You don't need a factory anymore. You just need a garage. Solar, decentralized energy. You don't need a grid. You need a roof. Crypto, decentralized finance because you don't need a bank. You just need a wallet. And now networking. You don't need a cell tower. You just need a node and a neighbor. Every one of these started the same way. Some person in a garage building a parallel system that the industry said couldn't work, and then it did, and then it scaled, and then everything changed. This isn't about routers for me, it's about technological sovereignty, which is the idea that you should own the tools you depend on, your energy, your money, your manufacturing, and yes, your communication. No company should have the power to stand between you and the people you need to reach. Now, you might be thinking, this is just some guy doing weird indie things with tech in his garage. And that's fair. That's what it looks like. But this router goes 10 times further than your home router. And it costs about 1/10 of the military version. The chip company behind this, Morris Micro, just raised $70 million. And the military, well, they've slid into my DMs. So this isn't fringe. This isn't hobby tech. This is real infrastructure that serious people are paying attention to. I'm just the guy showing you what it can do before they charge you an arm and a leg for it. WhatsApp, 2 billion users, Meta's closed source infrastructure, a completely different code base from Signal. If this works too, then it's not just a fluke and we might be onto something here. Okay, so we have the call connected right now. So that's a WhatsApp voice call, but we still have internet. So the question is what happens when I pull the plug out? And I'll keep speaker on. Test. 1, 2, 3, 4. Test. All right, well, it looks like WhatsApp does shut that down when you don't have internet as far as I can tell. Yeah, call failed. Okay, interesting. All right, so looks like WhatsApp doesn't like that. So that is good to know. I thought that was actually gonna work because I thought I had gotten it working in the past, but looks like WhatsApp is a no-go for offline voice calls. I had to try one more thing. We're gonna try to conduct a Zoom call from node to node without internet. So I'm starting off here and we are on the call. Pull this open. Yeah, you can see we're on the call. This phone is connected to blue actually. Maybe I'll put that over there. And then my phone over here is connected to green. And everything works because we have this backhaul uplink. So the question is, what happens if I pull this out? Okay, looks like potentially. Yeah, so Zoom doesn't want to start without internet, which makes sense. It's probably routing everything through its servers, so that kind of makes sense. So that's a bit of a bummer. Zoom doesn't work. It would be cool if it allowed for this kind of capability, but unfortunately it doesn't. Somewhat understandable, very corporate, very businessy software, but I definitely just wanted to give it a try because that would be very interesting if it did in fact work. Same network, same mesh, same setup, And nothing. It won't even try. Because Zoom doesn't look for other devices, it looks for Zoom's servers. And if it can't find them, you don't get to talk. That's not a technical limitation, but it's more of a business decision. And here's the thing that really got me. In 16 US states, it's literally illegal for your community to build out its own broadband network. ISPs lobbied for those laws. They spent $235 million in 2 years making sure you stay dependent on them. When someone tells me mesh networking is just a hobby, I do think about that number, and I think about what it means that a router I 3D printed in my garage just did something their infrastructure said was impossible. You know what's funny? The internet wasn't supposed to be like this. When I was younger, the whole point was that nobody owned it. IRC, Napster, Tor, LimeWire. People just connected peer-to-peer and shared things. Then somewhere along the way, we handed the keys to about 5 companies and said, yeah, you can run it. And they did. And now you pay a subscription to use your own thermostat and rent the right to save your own memories. Your doorbell needs a cloud server. Your video calls route through a data center in Virginia before it gets to someone sitting across the room. We went from an open network that anyone could build on to a permission-based system that anyone can be kicked off of. And the thing is, the technology never changed. The protocols are still peer-to-peer. The capability was always there. We just stopped using it. We probably got comfortable. We let them build walls around something that was never supposed to have walls. That's what today proved. The loophole isn't a loophole. It's the original design that we just forgot about. All right, so let's give FaceTime a try here. So I'm trying to call myself on FaceTime. All right, so far no dice. Maybe if I start with the internet like we did on Signal, we might get a better result here. So let's wait until we see internet coming through. All right, so we have internet. Let's give this a shot. Test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have voice going, but we have internet. So we got to take that out and see what happens. Here we go. Test. Test. Test 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice. All right. So if that works, I'm going to try something here. Let's move to FaceTime if we can. And it should be possible. So maybe we need to establish FaceTime with internet first. I'm going to try this again. One sec. So I'll try doing this. Okay, so we did just trick FaceTime into allowing a full video call without any internet. So this guy's connected to the blue, I'm connected to green. Green has no uplink. These guys both have cellular turned off. And we can see that we have a connection here. And so what I'm gonna do is take this guy and go say hi to Amelia. Okay, so we are connected to Amelia. She is downstairs on mommy duty. And it's kind of funny because this is like a better version of a baby monitor, essentially. And we know that the data is not leaving my home, which is super cool. And I definitely think this is probably the model for the future, is like, why do we need the internet if the data is able to stay within a confined network? And so I can just show you that real quick. There she is. And again, no internet. And we should be able to talk. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Nice. How's the quality?
Good.
Just good?
Oh, yes, perfect.
Nice. Yeah, so we're not on the internet right now. Oh, there Chase is. Chase is waking up. There he is. I want to see what else I can do here. So there's a feature called live captions. No, doesn't work. Okay. So yeah, we have FaceTime working internally over Wi-Fi Halo. Everything is in our private network. It's not going out to the internet. No tampering, no data capture, unwanted data capture, and we're able to get that working. So I'm pretty impressed that FaceTime, that Apple, frankly, makes this possible, that we can make use of some of these applications without having to route everything through their centralized servers. So that gives me a little bit of hope. Okay, so FaceTime works on a mesh network with no internet, but that was indoors. What happens if I mount a Haven node on each car, drive out to the middle of the nowhere, and try to FaceTime at 70 miles an hour? 2 cars, 2 Haven nodes, and sub-gigahertz mesh bridging the gap between them. So this guy just plugs into the SMA right there, and that is the antenna setup right there, like that. And this just is magnetized on, easy enough. Okay, so we are trying to get our mobile test going. I'm gonna we already have one of the antennas on this car right here. And right now I'm kind of like seeding it with the with the Starlink internet. But we're gonna be putting this antenna with the blue node on this second car. We're gonna establish a FaceTime connection, and then we're gonna see if we can keep it going while we're driving. So that is the mission right now. So I have Amelia right here, and we are about to go on our maiden voyage here. So, can you hear me, babe?
Yes.
All right, don't go too fast. Can you slow down a little?
Okay.
All right, so you can hear me loud and clear, right?
Yeah, perfect.
Nice. You can still hear me?
Yes.
All right. Nice, it seems to work pretty well.
Yeah.
So we're driving. We got two right-hand circularly polarized antennas, one on each car. We're bridged over Halo, and then each of our iPhones are connected to the local 2.4 Wi-Fi. And there is no internet, but we're chatting. We have a voice conversation going over FaceTime. All right, here we are on more of a highway here. So, you can still hear me?
Yes. Yeah, it's perfect.
So we are on the more of a highway right now. It's not like a full-blown highway, but we're going 55, and we're able to talk. You can hear me, right?
Yes.
So we're still able to chat, and she's way up there, but we're still able to chat over that Halo radio.
Yeah, it seems like I have the whole signal, you know?
Yeah. It's working pretty well. Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, did you drive over that?
Not baby, I have the Tesla self-drive, and I didn't see that.
Okay. Still blame you.
Actually works better than the regular thing, you know, because usually here, you start like, you know.
Yeah, well, we might break up.
Start like breaking.
Yeah, we might break up though now because I'm going the other way.
Okay. Let's see.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Huh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's better than the regular one.
Here's what's actually happening. See, I assumed FaceTime routes everything through Apple's servers. Apple brokers the connection, relays the video, handles the signaling, and it's not doing that. The two phones are discovering each other on the local network and connecting directly peer-to-peer. The video stream goes straight from my phone to hers through the mesh. Apple's servers aren't involved. These Haven nodes aren't bridged over some enterprise backbone. They're connected over a sub-gigahertz antenna, the same kind you'd use for Meshtastic, and FaceTime doesn't know or care. It just sees a network, finds the other device, and connects. FaceTime has had this capability really the entire time. It just never mattered because you were always on a network that had the internet. The app doesn't check for internet, it checks for the other phone, and if it can find it on any network, any transport layer, then it connects. The loophole was hiding in plain sight. And everything you just saw, Signal, WhatsApp, FaceTime at 70 miles an hour, all of it ran on two Haven nodes. Open source, no subscription. If you want to get one of those, check out the link in the description below. So today I proved you can FaceTime, WhatsApp, and Signal without the internet. Communication truly decentralized. But that got me thinking, if I can build a network that carries voice and video without the internet, then what about money? What about an offline Bitcoin transaction over long-range radio? Soon. For more, click here.